In the fall of 1994, marketing analysts at a regional grocery chain in Portland, Oregon, noticed something peculiar in their customer behavior data. Shoppers who purchased a particular brand of cereal, a product called Grain Harvest, spent an average of 11 minutes longer in the store than customers who didn't. 11 minutes. In the world of retail analytics, where every second is measured and optimized, 11 minutes might as well be an eternity. People weren't just shopping. They were lingering, wandering, as if the aisles themselves had become a destination rather than a pathway to the exit. This is the story of a cereal that shouldn't exist, delivered by trucks no one ordered it from, manufactured by a company registered to an address where nothing stands but an empty billboard and a patch of weeds. Portland, Oregon, September 1994. The Albertsons on Southeast 82nd Avenue, the Safeway on Hawthorne Boulevard, the Fred Meyer in Beaverton. 3 different chains, 7 different stores across the metro area. Sometime in early September, stock clerks began noticing boxes of Grain Harvest cereal appearing on their shelves. The boxes themselves were unremarkable, generic, even. A warm amber color with wheat stalks arranged in an arc across the front. The typography was clean, modern, forgettable. The kind of design that could have been produced any time between 1985 and 2000. If you saw it on a shelf, you wouldn't look twice. But the store managers did look twice, because according to their inventory systems, they had never ordered it. Tom Breslin, assistant manager at the 82nd Avenue Albertsons, later told the Willamette Week newspaper, "I went through the ordering logs myself. Nothing. I called our distributor. They had no record of shipping it. But there it was, a full row of it, 12 boxes deep, right between the Cheerios and the Raisin Bran." When Breslin checked the boxes themselves, everything seemed legitimate. UPC codes that scanned correctly, nutritional information, an ingredients list, whole grain wheat, sugar, corn syrup, salt, vitamin fortification, a manufacturer's address in Gresham, Oregon, an FDA approval number. Every regulatory requirement fulfilled. The cereal itself, according to those who bought it, was fine. Wheat flakes with a subtle honey sweetness. Nothing unusual, nothing remarkable. One customer described it as exactly what you'd expect a cereal to taste like if you'd never tasted cereal before and someone described it to you. And people were buying it. Not in huge quantities, but steadily. A box here, a box there. The kind of modest, unremarkable sales that wouldn't trigger any alarms. Except for those 11 minutes. The marketing data came from Retail Analytics Northwest, a Portland-based consulting firm that grocery chains hired to optimize store layouts and product placement. In 1994, they were pioneers in tracking customer movement patterns through time-stamped purchase data. The technology was crude by today's standards. Checkout timestamps cross-referenced with purchase items, but effective enough to notice trends. And Grain Harvest buyers were a trend. Michelle Ortega, a data analyst at the firm, discovered the pattern in early October while running routine optimization reports. "At first, I thought it was an error," she said in a 1995 interview. "The average customer spends 18 to 22 minutes in a supermarket. We have years of data confirming this. But customers purchasing Grain Harvest? 29 to 33 minutes. Every single data point. It was consistent across all 7 stores we monitored." Ortega dug deeper. These customers weren't buying more items. Their basket sizes were normal, even slightly below average. They were simply taking longer. As if they'd entered the store with purpose, found what they needed, and then decided to wander. Between the aisles, through the produce section, past the deli counter. No other product showed this correlation, not even close. When Ortega presented her findings to the grocery chains, they were skeptical but intrigued. One store manager positioned an employee to observe grain harvest purchasers specifically. The employee, who agreed to be interviewed on condition of anonymity, reported they seemed normal. They'd pick up the cereal, put it in their cart, and then just continue shopping, but slowly, really slowly, like they were browsing, like they had nowhere else to be. In a Tuesday morning grocery store in Portland, Oregon. By November, the story had reached Michael Vargas, a reporter for the Willamette Week, Portland's alternative newspaper. Vargas was known for investigative pieces on local government corruption and urban development controversies. A mysterious cereal wasn't his usual beat, but something about the story intrigued him. Perhaps it was the specificity of the 11 minutes. Perhaps it was the way store managers described the situation with a mixture of confusion and unease, as if they suspected something was wrong but couldn't articulate what. Vargas began where any journalist would, with the manufacturer. The address printed on every box of Grain Harvest cereal was 14250 Southeast Stark Street, Gresham, Oregon. According to the box, this was the location of Cascade Grain Products, Inc., the company responsible for manufacturing and distributing the cereal. Vargas drove to Gresham on a gray November afternoon. Gresham, a working-class suburb east of Portland, was home to warehouses, light industrial facilities, and aging commercial strips. 14250 Southeast Stark should have been a manufacturing facility or, at minimum, a distribution center. It wasn't. It was an empty lot. Chain-link fence, overgrown with blackberry bushes. A billboard advertising a personal injury attorney. Nothing else. No building, no foundation suggesting a building had recently been demolished. Just dirt and weeds, and the constant sound of traffic on Stark Street. Vargas checked the address 3 times. He consulted a Thomas guide. He asked at neighboring businesses. Everyone confirmed. 14250 Southeast Stark Street. Empty lot. Always had been, as far as anyone could remember. Back at his office, Vargas did what journalists do. He followed the paper trail. Cascade Grain Products, Inc. was indeed a registered business in the state of Oregon. Articles of incorporation filed in March 1994. Registered agent, a law firm in downtown Portland that specialized in corporate formations. When Vargas called the law firm, they confirmed they'd handled the paperwork, but declined to provide information about their client, citing attorney-client privilege. The FDA approval number on the cereal box was legitimate. Vargas confirmed it through the FDA's public database. The product had been registered in April 1994, with all required nutritional and safety documentation submitted and approved. But the FDA file listed the same Gresham address. No one from the FDA had ever conducted a physical facility inspection, which was unusual but not unheard of for small-scale manufacturers using co-packing arrangements. The UPC code was registered to Cascade Grain Products. It scanned correctly at every store. It was connected to a bank account at a local credit union for payment processing. But when Vargas requested information about the account, he hit a wall. Privacy laws protected such information, and without evidence of criminal activity, no court would issue a subpoena. Vargas tried tracking the delivery trucks. Store employees remembered boxes arriving with regular grocery deliveries, but always mixed in with products from known distributors. No dedicated grain harvest shipments. No trucks with Cascade Grain Products logos. The boxes simply appeared, integrated into the existing supply chain, as if they'd always been there. One warehouse worker Vargas interviewed recalled something odd. We'd get pallets from our regular distributors, Cisco, Tree of Life, whatever. And sometimes there'd be a couple cases of that grain harvest stuff mixed in. But it wasn't on the packing slip. We figured it was a computer error. Someone miscoded the shipment. Happened more than you'd think back then. By December, Vargas had assembled a story both fascinating and frustrating. He had evidence of an anomaly, a product with no clear origin, appearing through established distribution channels and correlating with unusual customer behavior, but no explanation. He published his findings in the Willamette Week in January 1995 under the headline, "The Cereal That Shouldn't Exist." The response was immediate. Some readers suggested it was a guerrilla marketing campaign, a way to generate mystery and word-of-mouth buzz. But marketing experts Vargas consulted pointed out the obvious flaw. There was no follow-up, no reveal, no advertising campaign capitalizing on the mystery. Grain Harvest simply continued appearing on shelves, selling modestly, generating no additional publicity beyond Vargas's article. Others theorized it was a money laundering scheme. Create a fake company, a fake product, and use grocery store sales to clean illegal income. But forensic accountants noted the volumes were too low. Grain Harvest sales across all 7 stores amounted to perhaps $3,000 to $4,000 per month, hardly worth the elaborate infrastructure required to infiltrate multiple supply chains. A few people suggested something stranger, a psychological experiment. The 11-minute correlation couldn't be coincidence. Perhaps the cereal contained an additive that made people more relaxed, more susceptible to browsing, more likely to make impulse purchases. But chemical analysis of Grain Harvest, conducted by a food science lab at Oregon State University at Vargas's request, showed nothing unusual. It was cereal, wheat, sugar, corn syrup, nothing that would explain altered shopping behavior. And then there was the theory no one wanted to say out loud, but everyone thought about. Maybe it was exactly what it appeared to be, a product from nowhere, inserted into the world through mechanisms we don't fully understand, for purposes we can't determine. In March 1995, Grain Harvest disappeared from store shelves as mysteriously as it had arrived. Store managers noticed it first. Inventory levels dropped as boxes sold, but new shipments stopped arriving. By April, the product was gone completely. No farewell, no recall, no explanation. Cascade Grain Products, Inc. remained a registered Oregon business until 1998, when the state dissolved it for failure to file annual reports. The Gresham lot at 14,250 Southeast Stark Street remained empty. In 2001, a tire store was built there. The billboard stayed up, cycling through advertisements for car insurance, bail bonds, and personal injury attorneys. Michael Vargas moved on to other stories, though he kept a box of Grain Harvest in his office for years, a souvenir of the strangest investigation of his career. He declined to appear in television documentaries about unexplained phenomena, preferring to let the facts speak for themselves. The marketing data from Retail Analytics Northwest was archived and eventually lost when the company was acquired and absorbed into a larger firm in 1998. Michelle Ortega, the analyst who discovered the 11-minute pattern, left the industry and became a high school math teacher. She rarely discussed the grain harvest case, but when pressed, she would say only, "The data was accurate. I checked it a dozen times. I don't know what it means, but it was real." Today, the grain harvest mystery exists in that liminal space between conspiracy theory and unsolved case, between urban legend and documented anomaly. The facts are verifiable. The business registration, the FDA approval, the marketing data, the newspaper articles, but the explanation remains elusive. Some researchers have noted that 1994 was a transitional year in American retail, a moment when computerized inventory systems and supply chain logistics were becoming sophisticated enough to track products with unprecedented precision, but still fragile enough to be exploited or confused. Perhaps grain harvest was a glitch, a hack, a demonstration of how easily our systems of commerce could be infiltrated. Others point to the behavioral data as the real mystery. 11 minutes, consistently, across hundreds of customers. If the cereal itself was ordinary, what caused the correlation? Was it placebo effect? Customers unconsciously fulfilling a pattern once they'd purchased a product that seemed slightly off? Was it coincidence? A statistical anomaly that meant nothing? Or was it something else? A test of consumer manipulation so subtle it left no trace except time itself. Stretched out between fluorescent aisles in supermarkets across Portland in the fall of 1994. The empty lot at 14250 Southeast Stark Street is now a tire store. The billboard still stands, currently advertising a law firm specializing in personal injury cases. On clear days, you can see Mount Hood from that corner, rising above the eastern suburbs, unchanging and massive and real. The cereal aisle at the Albertsons on Southeast 82nd Avenue looks like any other cereal aisle in America. Dozens of brands, hundreds of varieties, each competing for attention and shelf space in the endless machinery of consumer choice. But if you look closely, if you pay attention to the customers moving through those aisles, reaching for boxes, reading ingredients, making choices, you might notice something. The way some people linger, the way they seem unhurried, as if they have nowhere else to be, as if they're waiting for something. Or perhaps you're just looking for patterns where none exist. Perhaps 11 minutes is simply how long it takes to remember what you came for and decide it's time to leave. Perhaps